we can start maybe the way you start. You usually start with the non-aggression principle, right? Would you like to just
Yes.
go into that real quick? I'm sure your viewers have heard it by now many times, but I don't know.
Sure. So basically, the non-aggression principle. Um, I'll I suppose I'll do it more inductively. I'll first start with why we have such a principle in the first place, and then it'll become clear what it is actually saying. Um, so basically, this is it comes up in this area of philosophy called law. So what a law is doing, as you would perhaps expect, if you look at what all the different like courts and lawyers and what all these different people are trying to do, it's trying to answer this question of what should you do given conflicts are possible. Now, we in caps we have a specific meaning of the term. Like it doesn't just mean, maybe you're having an argument with someone, maybe you're like pissed off at someone. That's not what we're meaning by conflict. By a conflict, we mean mutually exclusive actions. So if there's Crusoe and Friday on the desert island, Crusoe picks up a stick from nature and he sharpens the end of it and he wants to use it to spearfish. But then, as he's walking to the beach, Friday comes along, he sees that same stick and decides he wants to use it to stoke his fire, so he tries to take it off Crusoe. We've got a conflict there. So Friday's not able to stoke his fire with the stick at the same time that Crusoe uses it to spearfish. So those actions exclude each other. They're mutually exclusive actions. So the way we say this problem should be dealt with is with the non-aggression principle. So aggression is the initiation of conflict. So we go, hey, look, this Friday guy, he has started this conflict. He has initiated the conflict because Crusoe's actions preceded Friday's actions. Crusoe was already using the stick. He was the first comer to that stick. So he's already using it. So Friday has started the conflict. The person who starts the conflict is the one in the wrong, and that is the non-aggression principle. And just a real quick corollary of this is the homestead principle, which is sort of almost implicit in the non-aggression principle, in my view, which is that, well, if you get something first, then it's yours. You have the property right in it. Because obviously Crusoe got the stick first, so therefore, just by that fact, anybody else coming and trying to take that stick from him is initiating conflict. They are the so that it's basically first come, first served. It is if you get something first, you have homesteaded that thing, so it's now your property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a couple of questions in regards to that. So the first thing that I'm really having difficulties to understand is the relationship between ethics and law when you're speaking about this, when you're using these terms. So when you say the law is that we cannot aggress, like when you say that's the law, I feel like what I understand as the law is the rule that is being enforced by an enforcer. So that's the way I understand the law. Whereas ethics are the rules that basically tell us what's good and what's bad. And ideally, those two would be in accordance with each other, but they might not be. So in this case, with Crusoe and Friday, I feel like when you're talking about a law, since there is nothing enforcing that law, that rule basically, it can only be like a moral, ethical rule / law in that sense, right? Or is enforcement not
Sure.
part of the
Basically,
definition of law?
yeah. So in my view, enforcement has nothing to do with what the law is. So this is related to a debate in jurisprudence, which is the philosophy of law, which goes right back the whole way which we've had uh, jurisprudence. Um, so it's a debate between the legal positivists and the natural law theorists. So I'm a natural law theorist. I think that what a law is depends upon moral facts. That depends upon what is right, what's wrong, what is good, what is evil, things like that.
So
Um, Whereas a legal positivist thinks it depends upon social facts, i.e., what we wish to happen, what we are enforcing, things like that. So I think that legal positivism, it it has some pretty major flaws, which we can um, go into if you want.
Before we do that, I'm really bad with like terminology and stuff like that. So when you say legal positivism and stuff like that, I've heard about it, but I can't really like I don't have a definition in my mind right away. Also, like, but if I understand you correctly, then for you basically, the law is what's ethical. So you exclusively use the word law in the meaning of ethics, right? So and it has to
I
be
would say
so it's basically interchangeable with an ethical law. Is that correct?
so. I would say that law is a subset of ethics. So it's not like everything which is unethical is illegal. Like I think it would be um, unethical to lie to someone. If you like I'm your friend or what. I don't think it initiates any conflicts. It doesn't violate anybody's rights, but it would be immoral. I think that's you shouldn't do that type of thing.
But
Um, so yeah.
so I'm sorry, Zulu. Just one more thing. I think I'm not sure if it's me or if it's you, but sometimes your connection breaks up, and I think it's your internet connection. Is there any chance like it's like your voice is getting robotic and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like
No.
that? Could it be that you're in the Wi-Fi or not with the
Hold on.
Ethernet?
See here. Because yeah, I'm getting dropped frame.
Yeah.
What the heck? All right, I've tried to turn off the VPN, which I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
I had on. Um,
Yeah, that will definitely
hopefully that
help.
works.
I think it already looks better, like way less pixely. Okay,
Cool.
cool. So if you say that the law is basically a subset of ethics, so not everything that is um, ethical, that is unethical, is also illegal, right? So sorry, the law is a subset of um, ethics, right? That's what you're saying. So not
Mhm.
everything that is unethical is also illegal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my understanding, so these are still two separate things, right? So there might be things that are morally wrong, but are just not enforceable, right? So they're just not, it's not possible to enforce them, and therefore they're not illegal, right? But they're ethically wrong. So that's why my understanding of law is the thing that is enforced, like the rule that is enforced is the law.
So yeah, that would be a positivist
But what would be
stance,
yours?
legal positivist.
Like
So I'm a natural law theorist.
sure,
So I
but
think that even if nobody is enforcing my right to not be killed, and even if nobody could enforce that, maybe like Superman comes down, he decides he wants to kill me, and nobody's able to enforce my right to not be killed by Superman. Even still, I think that I do have that right, because I don't think that uh, law depends upon the ability to enforce it. I think that is a strange way to think about law, and it leads to some very strange outcomes, which is like, if I go ahead and murder someone, but I'm really, really good at it, and nobody finds out about it, is it no longer a crime anymore? Like that's one of the things you have to accept if you're a consistent positivist.
no, but the finding out about it, knowing about it, is not the criterion. Basically, the
Well, if nobody knows about it, then nobody can enforce any punishment on me.
but the judge. So then there is basically nothing to judge. Yeah, there is nothing to judge, basically, right?
Yes, and if you're a positivist,
But
if
but
you're going to be consistent on positivism, then if somebody is able to get away with a crime, then they didn't really get away with a crime. They just didn't, in fact, commit a crime. Even if you think that it's normally a crime to kill your wife and a waiter, OJ got away with it, so it's no longer a crime anymore.
yeah, I don't know if I would see it that way, because I feel like the thing that we don't know, like also the ethical thing that we don't know, is still unethical once we know about it, right?
Exactly. That's
So
that's
we
the naturalist viewpoint. That would be
but
my
us
viewpoint, is that it's still wrong and it's still criminal specifically.
okay, I see your point. So enforcement, so the authority, there is no, it plays no role whatsoever what the authority, if there is enforcement or not. But wouldn't that mean that basically law and ethics can't, like there can't be, like what would be then, can you give us an example of something uh that is legal but immoral, just out of like something random?
So something which would be legal but immoral. Let's say, you know, I was a huge fan of you and I really wanted to get on your stream, but you only like stream with people who have like interesting viewpoints. And it's like, maybe I'm just really, really boring or something. So like, I would make up that I have some like really interesting viewpoint. I like make up a bunch of credentials to show you how interesting I am, and I basically just con my way onto your stream. I don't think that would be committing any crimes at all, but it would be very immoral. Specifically, I'd be trying to gain values through deception. I'm trying to cheat reality to get something. Um, but this, and then I'm just building up a house of cards, which will eventually collapse on me, and I'll be way worse off than if I just had never um, evaded reality. Would be the Randian way to put it.
So it is illegal, it is legal because lying is not is not forbidden by the law, right?
I mean,
Is
a
that what
cer-
you're saying?
I mean, there are certain circumstances where lying is forbidden,
Okay, but
but in this instance, uh, just merely lying, just merely not telling the truth, is
but
not a crime.
but why, can you just give me in a sentence why this is not illegal without saying it's not a crime, because that's the same thing? Like why is
So
it
it's
not illegal?
it's not illegal, because I didn't initiate any conflicts with you or anybody else for that matter.
And why is it immoral?
It's immoral because I'm trying to basically cheat reality. I'm ignoring reality on the premise that if I just that my consciousness has primacy over existence. That if I blank out the things out there, that I can change the things out there. That that I have primacy. Uh, Basically, that is the error there is that I'm committing the stolen concept fallacy, as with any form
But
of the primacy of existence. The primacy of consciousness.
but you know what's true. You're not blanking out. You know exactly what's what.
Well, not if I'm trying to deceive people, because
It,
any form of deception, it necessarily is built on the premise that I can change reality by ignoring it. Because I'm ignoring that I actually, in the scenario, actually don't have the qualifications to be going on your stream. I'm actually not these things. I'm ignoring that fact in order to try and gain the things which would be uh, gained by having those characteristics. Instead of actually going out and getting those characteristics, going out and becoming this super interesting person, I'm just lying about it so that I can try and reap the rewards without having actually done the work. So that is trying to gain a value by cheating reality.
I don't really understand that, to be honest, because like I don't see how you have to fool yourself in order to fool somebody else. That's basically what you're saying, right? How you basically have to convince yourself of reality being different in order to convince somebody else. of
It's
reality
not
being
even
different,
necessarily that I'm fooling
right?
myself that I actually do have those things. I'm trying to fool reality almost. I'm trying to say, hey, it doesn't like. Let's take another example. Let's say I really wanted to engineer a bridge, but I actually don't know how to engineer a bridge. I don't know what is involved in doing that, but I just make up that I do, and I go, oh, I these bridge engineers, they live such lavish lives. They they have all the women. All the women they love it when a man can make a good bridge, and they get so much money, and everybody loves them. They're like rock stars, right? Um, so I want to be a bridge engineer as well, but instead of going and becoming an engineer and studying engineering to learn how to make bridges properly, um, I just lie and I make up a fake PhD in bridgeology and all of these different things. Um, and then I try and design a bridge and it collapses on the first day, right?
Can,
So what I've
can
done there is
mhm.
I've just gone basically, hey, I don't actually need the characteristics of bridge engineer. I don't have to change myself. I can just lie. I can just make up a fantasy, this fantasy in my head, and reality will conform to my fantasy, and I will get all the things that you need to be a bridge engineer in order to get. I can get them without doing those things. I can get an effect without a cause. That is the way in which you are cheating reality, or at least trying to cheat reality, because of course
I
I
feel
wouldn't get any of the good effects.
I feel like it's getting too complicated for me. So if we just keep it really easy, so just if we just keep it as at I lie to you about what I have in my pocket, right? So I'm telling you that I have 10 euros in my pocket, but actually I have nothing in my pocket. Okay, there will be something that is, according to you, immoral but not illegal, right?
Well, it depends on why you're doing that lie, to be clear. Like maybe you're lying because I came up to you and I wanted to rob you because I thought you had 1,000 euros in your pocket, but I won't rob anybody who has less than 100 euros. And if you lie and say, well, no, I've only got 10
But
euros,
there will be a
it's like, okay, that's fine.
utilitarian, way of looking at it, right? Like,
No,
isn't
no, no, no.
like you're
Specifically, your lie there in that hypothetical wouldn't be trying to cheat reality to gain values. That is the sense in which lying is bad, is if you're trying to cheat reality to gain a value.
so wait, in which
So if
situation
you
am
lie
I?
to the Nazis about, like, you say, no, there are no Jews under the floorboards,
Yeah,
that's a perfectly fine lie. That's perfectly
why
moral.
is that not
Because
not not cheating reality, and why is the other lie? Wait, which lie is cheating reality and which lie isn't? Can you give like two examples?
so trying to cheat reality, an example of that would be lying about my qualifications to become a bridge engineer,
No, no,
or
with the
lying to
10
try and
euros
get on.
in my pocket. So I have 10 euros in my pocket, and I'm
Yeah,
telling, no, sorry, I don't have
if
10 euros in my pocket. I have nothing in my pocket, and I'm telling you I have 10 euros in my pocket. In which situation is this cheating reality, and in which situation is this not cheating reality?
that would
Sorry, I'm just
that
getting
would
some
be
water, just so you know. I'm still hearing you, by the way.
okay. Okay. So if you're saying that you have 10 euros in your pocket when you don't, that would be cheating reality. If I would only hang out with people who have money, like, we're going out to dinner or something, and it's like, hey, everybody's got to have money so they can chip in for the bill. And you say, no, yeah, no, don't worry, I've got 10 euros in my pocket. So you're trying to gain a value, i.e., having a nice dinner with all the boys and whatnot, uh, by cheating reality, by pretending you have what you don't have, namely 10
So
euros in your pocket. Um, I don't know an example where that wouldn't be cheating reality, where you have nothing but you pretend you have something. Maybe I'm a poor hating murderer, and I will murder anybody who has no money in their pockets. That's just the way I am. And I come up to you with my big gun and I say, hey, if you don't have any money in your pockets, I'm going to kill you. What do you have in your pockets? Uh, and you say, oh, I've got 10 euros in my pockets. And it's like, okay, uh, uh, don't worry, rich man, I won't kill you because I only hate poor people. That would be an example where you're lying not to gain, not by cheating reality to gain a value, but by trying to protect what you've legitimately own,
I
right?
see
You're trying to
why
protect yourself.
I see why one is immoral and the other one isn't, but I don't see at all, like, not even close. I don't see why one is cheating reality and the other one isn't. Can you maybe explain
So
that? Like, I see how defrauding someone Like basically the first case that you suggested is close to fraud. Like if we would just increase the bindingness of what we're saying, and if we increase the value of what's at stake, we could make a criminal case about from that, right? So if I'm pretending that I have a money, like when I go to a restaurant and I pretend that I have money and then I eat and then I go, like there could be even, we could talk about a case of fraud there, right? So that's already problematic that you give that example, because we were trying to talk about an example where it's not illegal, and now it's becoming illegal because it's a lie in order to gain something. So we need to
No,
have an
no, not
example.
specifically illegal. So to be clear, it's not specific. It's not necessarily illegal um, to
Yeah,
cheat
but it's
reality to try and gain value.
no, no. I wait, but cheating, like
I'm
lying to
saying it's
someone.
necessarily. I'm saying it's necessarily immoral. That sort of lying, where you
Sure.
uh, try to cheat reality to try and gain a value. That is necessarily unethical, but I don't think it's necessarily illegal. I think there are things you can do where maybe I want to be your friend, so I pretend to be someone who I'm not.
Before we go
Maybe
there,
you.
yeah, sure. But before we go there, so why is in the self defense case basically? Why am I there not cheating reality by lying to someone, and why in the other case am I cheating reality and by lying to someone? That I'm not getting.
So so you're not actually um, even gaining a value. First of all, in the case of lying to the Nazis who are coming to your house, we'll just use that as an example. Nazis who come to your house and they're saying, "Hey, are there any Jews underneath the floorboards?" And you say, "No, there are none," even though there are some. So you're not even gaining a value there. They're coming and trying to deprive you of various values and deprive those Jews of various values, um, and you're just defending that, right? So you're not gaining values, you're in defensive value. So it, literally
What?
speaking, couldn't be cheating reality to gain a value. Um, but second of all, like let's just consider what does it actually mean when the Nazi is coming over and he says, "Hey, are there any Jews underneath your floorboards?" Um, what he's actually asking is, "Hey, can I come into your house and murder those Nazis? Murder those Jews?" It's perfectly fine for you to respond to that and say, "No, it's not okay for you to come into my house and murder these Jews." The person is already engaged in deception. They're not being like real nice and friendly and being like, "Hey, I'm just intellectually curious." Like that's not what they're saying. They're coming there and they're saying, "Hey, we want to murder Jews. So if you got any Jews about, let us know." It's
But
perfectly fine to not let people know. It's perfectly fine to not aid and abet murderers because that's what you'd be doing
no,
if
I
you
see you.
help if you pointed out all the Jews to them.
I feel like you're trying to make a case for why it is immoral to lie there. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with you saying that there is something basically metaphysically and psychologically happening, which is cheating reality, and that I'm not
So I'm saying they're
understanding. Like
not
I,
cheating reality there, to
but
be
but
clear.
but why? Like if I tell you, when you do action X, you will break your leg. Like it's not important why I'm doing that or to what response I'm doing that. Like if you're saying that if you do this action, then you will something will happen to you, then it doesn't really matter what is the response, like why I'm doing that, right? Like that would be
I mean, so to be clear, the burden would be on you to show that you somehow are like I just don't see how a person is cheating reality by lying to the Nazis who are trying to murder Jews. Like in what sense are they cheating reality? I
no
can see
you're
it for if I'm lying to try and become your friend. I can see how in that case, but how in the case of the Nazis are you in fact trying to gain values by cheating reality?
no wait, but you said that lying to someone, like we I asked you for an example of something that is immoral but not illegal, and you said lying, right?
And I clarified specifically the type of lying, which is trying to gain values by cheating reality.
Okay, so
That is
why
the type of
is
lying which is specifically immoral, not the
okay?
type
No, no, no,
with the
no, no, no,
Nazis.
no, no. I'm not asking for what's immoral. I'm asking for what is cheating reality. Like what's making like
Right?
what's
I'm saying
making
I'm saying the type of lying which the bridge engineer is doing, the fake bridge engineer, that is trying to cheat reality. But the type of lying that the Jew guarder is doing is not trying to cheat reality.
yeah, and what's the
He is
difference?
trying
Like
to stick to reality.
And I'm not understanding the difference. Like, what's the cheating? Why in one case it's like the same action, lying, becomes cheating reality, and in the other case it's not cheating reality? That's what I'm not understanding.
Well, so it's in the same way that this same action is sometimes punching a person in the face, and other times it's not, right? It's the same movement of my arm, but sometimes I'm breaking someone's nose, right? The same is true of literally using your mouth to say words which are not true, right? That is what lying means. So lying itself is not inherently wrong or cheating reality. And the reason why I'm combining the two is because the reason why certain types of lying is wrong is because you're trying to gain values by cheating reality.
But that's, sorry,
They're
but
intrinsically linked.
yeah,
And
but isn't
in this,
Nazis
the reason,
reality, or is that like where am I escaping reality in the case where I'm
so
defending myself?
in the case of the Nazis, they're the ones trying to gain values by cheating reality. They're the ones who think they can get all of these wonderful things. They think they can get their utopia um, on the top of murdering a bunch of productive people. They are the ones trying to gain values by cheating reality, and you're not going along with it. You're not giving your sanction to it. That's the difference there. You're not going. You're literally
So
rejecting the cheating of reality in the latter case, but you're the one participating in the former.
I'm not sure if I understand what cheating reality even means, to be honest. Like, could you maybe define it in a way? Like, what does cheating reality mean?
I mean, I can give
Like
examples.
reality
I
is
don't
not
know.
like a cheating. I know what cheating means, right? Like tricking, but who is like, I don't know how you would cheat reality. I have no idea what that means, to be honest.
So, cheating reality is just any instance of acting upon the premise that your consciousness has primacy over existence.
Your
That would be the most
consciousness,
general way you could explain cheating
you
reality.
thinking that your consciousness is actually more valid, more real than reality. Is that what you mean?
Uh, it would rather be that acting on the premise that your mind controls reality.
Okay, so yeah, so that you can control reality with your mind.
Yeah, anytime you're
Okay,
acting on that premise,
how
you are
how
trying to cheat reality.
how is it that when I'm lying, like, wait, and that's bad because
Because it's
that's
false.
wrong, because it's false,
Because
right?
it's in fact false that you can control reality with your mind. If it was
Okay,
true, then it would
okay,
be, whatever, and then
yeah.
contradictions would be true and everything breaks down.
Sure. And now when I'm lying to gain values, right? Now how am I uh thinking, how is me lying to someone to gain a value, how is that, how is it necessary for me to believe that my thoughts determine reality, uh outside of my thoughts actually determining reality? Because like when I'm thinking about a lie and then expressing that lie and then basically gaining a value from that, I have had an influence on reality, right? And then
Well,
it
so
would not
it's
be wrong
basically
because
just
it's
a
true.
tautology at this point, because I have defined essentially the set of lies which are wrong are those which are where you are trying to gain a value by cheating reality. And what I mean by that is that you're acting on the premise that your consciousness has primacy over existence, that your mind can control reality, right? So it's just uh, that's just by definition, this
No,
is the
sorry,
set of lies which are bad.
you lost
And
me.
I can give you examples
I
of
didn't
things which
understand
lie
that.
in that set.
I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. Um,
So,
can you repeat? Yeah, maybe can
it's
you repeat?
yeah. I'll repeat it. So, uh, what we're getting at here is the set of lies, which I think are immoral lies, are those where you are trying to
Oh,
cheat
please,
reality to gain a value,
Zulu.
right? So,
I'm
here's the
I'm
types of lies which are bad. And what
but
that means is that you are trying to cheat reality to gain a value. And what I mean by that is that you're acting upon the premise that your mind can control reality.
can
So I
you,
just define that's what I mean by that,
no, but the
right?
problem is, can we remove, bad and good out of this for now and then talk about it? Because the reason why we're talking about this is because you're saying that it is bad because it is cheating reality, right? Like that's what your reasoning was. That's why we came here, right? The reason why we're talking about this is because you said it is bad in this situation to lie because it is cheating reality. So now I'm just trying to understand what cheating reality means. Like you have to be
cheating
able to
reality.
wait. You have to basically be able to explain to me what cheating reality means without reference to good or bad and ethical and immoral and all of these things, because you're trying to, that's what you're trying to explain, right?
Yes. So I don't think I was doing that. So maybe I'll just try and
Sure. Then let's just ban the
clarify.
words. Let's just ban the words good, bad, immoral, because like that's what you're trying to explain, right? We would have
Sure,
to
sure,
ban
sure.
them.
So cheating reality, all that means is that you are acting upon the premise that your mind can control reality.
Sure. Yeah,
That's
that's
what it
that I
means.
get. That I get. That I understand. But I don't see now. And now my question is, how is that a necessary thought when like, and that's only bad because it's wrong, right? To the extent that it's wrong, right?
Yeah, wrong meaning incorrect.
Incorrect. Sorry. Yeah, we banned the words wrong, but in that sense we mean like not actually factual, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Um, to that extent it's bad, right? And then my question is, in what way am I presupposing me controlling reality with my thoughts, with my imagination, uh, beyond the extent that I'm actually doing that when I'm lying to someone to gain a value out of it?
Well, it depends upon the lie.
Yeah, I mean we can just use the example that you gave, like the first example that you gave, where you said I'm saying that I have money to get to go to dinner with you, and actually I don't have any money, and then I'm like, yeah, haha, now Zulu's paying for me, right? So that would be like an
So,
example. And now how am I presupposing that I am controlling reality with my mind in this scenario?
so
To the
there
extent,
you're trying.
sorry, what more add on, to the extent that I'm not actually controlling reality, because to a certain extent I am controlling reality with my lie, right? With my imagination, because I'm making you go to dinner with me, right?
Well, so I'll maybe clarify on that. In no way is your mind controlling reality. Now, your mind can cause certain actions that you take, and that's a part of reality. But reality isn't being changed by your mind there. Like, I'm meaning more like, you know, if I just wish uh, that I would be sitting on Mars, I close my eyes and I wish for it, and then it happens, then I am controlling reality with my mind, right?
Sure.
Um, it's basically a break in causality.
It's not the direct, it's not the direct thing, but I mean we don't have to talk about that. But how is that lie presupposing that, like how do why do I have to believe that I am controlling the reality with my mind in order to tell that lie?
So what you're doing there is there are a few layers to it, basically. So on the first level, you are basically trying to get this value, this lovely evening, without having the necessary requirements to obtain that value, right? That value has certain things which are needed to happen in order to get it, right? Namely, people have to come together and pay, and people have to work for that money. You're trying to reap the rewards of all this without doing any of the prior work. You're trying to get an effect without a cause. So what you're saying there is that A is non-A, because the law of causality is just the law of identity applied to action. It is saying that because something is what it is, it acts accordingly. Pardon me. So it's a denial of causality. That's the first level to it. You are denying causality. You're acting on the premise that causality is false when you're asserting that you have money in your pocket when you don't have money in your pocket. Um, So
No, I'm not.
the
Sorry, when you say asserting, do you mean like internally or verbally
internally,
to
yes,
you?
yes,
No, no, no.
you're
But
acting on that premise.
no, no. I know that I don't have the money. Actually, I'm not acting on that premise because, like,
You know
when you
exactly,
ask
exactly.
me
You know
when
that
you
you don't have the money. You
but
know
yeah,
that you don't have the money. Yes,
exactly.
yes,
Like, I'm
yes,
not
yes,
cheating
yes. That's what
myself. Like,
you
yeah.
know. Yes, because you do indeed know that you don't have the requirements. You don't have the cause, and yet you're expecting the effect.
But the
It's
lie could
because
be
you
the
know that. If you
but I
didn't
know
know
that.
that,
But I know
right,
that.
right. If you
Yeah.
didn't know that, if you thought that you did have money in your pocket and it was a genuine mistake, then you're not cheating reality. You're
But I
not
know that.
operating upon false
But
premises.
I know
So
that
it's because
cheaters.
you know that you don't have it.
But I know that cheaters and fraudsters get invited to like can get dinners like that. Like, that is also reality,
Right.
right? So I know that there
Right.
is
So
a
you're trying.
I know that there
So
is.
that's all just the first level,
No,
right?
no, yeah, yeah, but on that first level, it's wrong because I
No, no, no.
know. No, no, this causality that you're saying, the causality that you're talking about, I can apply that same causality to people defrauding. Like, I know about people that defraud people like that, and therefore that's the causality that I'm applying. Like, I'm not rejecting
Right, and
causality
they're
at
all
all.
no, 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 and they're all operating upon the false premise that you can get something without doing the
But
prerequisite work, that you
then
can
they could
get an effect without a cause. So can
wait.
I explain
They
that more
could.
deeply? Hold on, hold
No,
on,
no.
hold on,
Before you go there,
hold on.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So, there because it is in fact false that you can get these lovely dinners without money. That's false. Somebody's gonna have to pay for it. All right? Whether that be, your friends, get you have to give an IOU to the restaurant, or the restaurant pays for it because they've already made all the food. They're out that money. This is basically what the book Atlas Shrugged is all about, right? When people are acting upon these premises, then they can get these effects, these values, without the prerequisite cause, without the person who produced the values. Somebody had to produce those values. You're going to get a whole bunch of negative outcomes from that. So maybe your friends are not going to want to hang out with you
But that's
anymore
a
because
consequentialist. That's a utilitarian
this is not
way of arguing.
utilitarianism.
But that's the
No, no,
only
no, no.
you're
It's
arguing
not.
from the negative
So I'm not saying
consequences.
it's bad
Okay.
because some arbitrary negative consequences, which I've parasitically stolen from somewhere else, happen. I'm saying it's bad because just objectively, you're acting upon false premises. You're trying to uh, get something for nothing. You're trying to cheat reality. You're operating upon the premise that you can control reality, that you can gain these things
But it's not
without the
nothing.
consequences.
Like, also fraud and lies are also something. Like, I know that I can't get this. Like, I know that I can't just sit there and wait for something to come, right? I know that I have to first act as if, and also, like, I know
You
I've
do actually
seen.
think that if you're going to dinner without having done the work to get the 10 euros that you
But
needed,
the work is the work
you
is.
do think that you can just sit there
But
and
from a
do
word.
nothing
But
and
from
still
a
get the same
fraud.
rewards.
But from a fraudster's perspective, the work is the lying, right? That's the work. It's not like anyone's going to like.
That's not the work that reality requires, though. Reality requires
But
that
who says
money
that?
is spent.
Who says that he has
Nobody's
seen?
saying that.
No, no, but he has seen.
That is what reality demands.
Wait,
And if you try and get these values, if you try and
Zulu.
get these lovely dinners out
Yeah,
without having done the work, right, then everything breaks down. The
The-
restaurant is out of business. Your friends hate you.
but that's all
Everything
consequences.
collapses.
That's all consequences. That doesn't. It's the
Yes,
thing that we're
but you
talking about.
couldn't get the
No,
thing.
no,
You
but
weren't able to get
the thing that you're
the value no
claiming.
longer exists. It
But
evaporates. It's
but
gone.
the thing that you have to argue for is something inherently in my mind that's happening, right? Because you're saying that I am cheating reality, so you can't go and tell us about all of the other negative consequences that would happen from that. Like, the thing that you
Those
basically
negative
have to
consequences exist
the thing that.
because you cheated reality. That's what I'm
But
saying.
that's what we're trying to understand. Like, we're trying to understand what cheating reality means, and I'm still not able to get it because I could, for example, remember that last week I actually forgot. I actually thought that I had $10 in my pocket. Okay, and then we went to dinner, and because I had forgotten my money, you paid for me, right? That's one example where I know, if I don't have the money, if I forget my money, Zulu's paying for me, right? And now I basically just do the same thing. And I know that if I act as if I don't have them, I forgot my money, Zulu's going to pay for me. It's not like I'm thinking that the something pops out of existence and it doesn't. It's actually it's happening exactly the way I'm saying it will happen, right?
Right.
That's
And
why we're talking about. And I'm not cheating
play
reality
this
at all.
scenario out.
Yeah.
No, just to be clear, you are cheating reality, right? If you're doing this deliberately, you are trying to gain
Wait,
values by cheating reality.
I don't
And
think that I'm
specifically,
controlling. I don't think that I'm controlling reality.
you're
And
acting
I'm
upon the
not.
premise that you are, though.
But the only thing that I'm presupposing is the thing that's actually happening, right? So I'm presupposing.
You're acting on. So you're
Wait, let
acting.
me just ask that question. Let me just ask that question. I just want to ask that question. Sorry, Zulu. So I am thinking that I will get the dinner for free if I say that I don't have that I have the money but I don't have money, and that's also what happens, right? So therefore I haven't thought that I control.
The way in which you're controlling reality isn't. I'm not saying that it's impossible to deceive someone to get a value, right? I'm not saying that it's impossible to gain values this way. Obviously, it's possible, right? But I'm saying that the premise that you're operating upon in gaining these values is false. It's that you can control reality with your mind. So let's take the example of you regularly going out to dinner with me and you feign ignorance that you forgot your wallet or whatever. The values that you're trying to gain there are nice dinners out. So let's just play that scenario out and see where it is that you are assuming that you're operating upon the premise that you can control reality. So these dinners, they require certain work to get them, right? Either by the restaurant or by me, who's now having to pay for you. Eventually, I might just go, you know what? Screw you. I'm no longer giving sanction to your immorality here. I'm no longer giving sanction to you, so I'm not going to take you out to dinner anymore.
How is that important?
And then
How is that
so
important for what happened before? Like we're talking about, like you're talking about something that happens after 3 times, but you're saying that in the act of me lying to you, I am already cheating reality.
yes,
And I would like
because
to just get. Can you?
yes, you're operating upon the premise that you can gain values
Can you
without
just
doing the work
express?
to get to them.
But I am getting that value. Like it's only problematic to the extent that it's not correct.
Somebody has to pay for it, though.
It doesn't
Somebody has to
matter.
pay for that.
But yeah, I know that you're going to pay for that, and I'm not fooling myself that you're not going to pay for that. I know that you're not going to pay for that. That you are going to pay. I know that. I'm not at any point am I thinking. Can you maybe explicitly, because you said that cheating reality means me thinking that I am controlling reality with my imagination or with my thoughts. Okay? So what would be the exact sentence? Like what would be the exact thought of what exactly would I think I am controlling with my thoughts / imagination, and that I'm not actually controlling?
You think that you're controlling the law of causality. You think that things can be gotten without being produced. You think that.
But I get it.
Can I finish?
Let me finish.
Let me finish.
Sorry.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah, sorry.
You think that things are able to be produced without the producer. You think that you're able to attack and destroy the producer, because that's what you're doing, right? In this scenario, you're attacking me, not like with sticks and stones or anything like that, but you're trying to drain me. You are basically a parasite who is latched onto me, and you're sucking up on my values.
I agree.
Whilst, hold on.
That's why it's immoral.
Hold on. Whilst you are attacking me. So I am the root of your sustenance, and you're attacking that root. So you're expecting all of these things that I can provide for you without me in the picture, right? You think that you can control reality to give you things, to give you effects without causes, right? Specifically, you think that you can gain the effects of lovely dinners and everything whilst attacking the root of what is required for those dinners. And what's going to end up is either the restaurant goes bust, or I go bust, or I stop letting you leech off me, or anything, or any other possible consequence, or everything.
But that doesn't matter. All of that doesn't matter. All of these consequences don't matter, right? Because the thing. No. Wait. All of these consequences don't matter.
Hold on. No. I know what you're going to say now. You're going to
Yeah.
say, but I just want to know about, in which sense am I cheating reality? But I've
Yeah,
already
but
said
that's what
that
we're
part.
talking.
I already
Yeah, I
said
know.
that part,
But
and
then
then
the
I
rest
moved
was
on
not.
to
But the
consequences.
rest was not useful because, like, right now we're just talking about what we're talking about, right? So I don't see at all, like, all of the things that you're saying are basically either not me thinking that I am changing reality with my thoughts, or there are things that actually happen. For example, when you say you think that you can control reality with your mind by you thinking that you can disable causality, I'm not thinking that. I'm not thinking that the food comes out
You
of
are
nowhere.
operating on that
I'm
premise,
not.
though.
No, I'm
You
not
might not
think.
explicitly be thinking this. Like,
No,
I'm
it's
not
not
saying
even.
that everybody who
No, it's
I'm
not
not
a
saying that
necessary
everybody who
premise.
does
Wait,
hold
how
on.
is that a
I'm
necessary
not saying that
premise?
everybody who does this is, like, explicitly thinking, yes, today
No,
I'm
you're
going to
saying it's a
change
logical
reality
premise. You're
by
saying it's a
by
logical
getting
premise,
by
but
pretending that causality doesn't exist. I'm not saying they're explicitly engaged in this activity, but implicitly they must accept this premise.
I don't see it.
Sometimes it's explicit,
I don't
but
see it at all.
most of the
Like
time it's implicit.
I don't see it at all. How I am like, what would be the sentence in that scenario? What would be the sentence that like if for me? Let me just say to you like this: in order for me to believe that I am cheating reality, I would have to see someone go with the like basically see someone think that they can, yeah, exactly what you said, basically that they can change reality with their thoughts and imaginations, and to me that's just insanity. So I don't know what to, like, I don't see any insanity in that scenario. I just see someone who's doing something immoral, but I don't see any insanity there. Like, I don't see any loss
The,
of
the
reality there.
The insanity is thinking that you can get Reardon metal whilst denouncing Henry Reardon. It's whilst you're attacking Henry Reardon, you think that you can still get Reardon metal. That is the insanity. Like, again, this is what the book
I
Atlas
don't know
Shrugged is
what
all
that
about.
means. Wait, what's Reardon what? I didn't understand that one.
Reardon metal.
What's that?
It is the emblematic instantiation of this. It is that is the archetype. This is again, this is just what Atlas Shrugged is all about. It goes over every possible concrete you could ever need on this topic. I don't know how to get more concrete than what I've got.
Sure.
You are literally just there are certain things that need to be done to make these dinners happen. You're trying to get these dinners without doing the necessary things,
And they
so
happen.
you're trying to get an effect without
But
a
they happen.
cause. Somebody has to do those things for you.
Sure, and I know that. And I know that the whole time. Like, there is
And
no single
you think
point in time, there is no single point in time where I don't know that. And that's the thing that you're saying, that the thing that you're claiming is that I think that that's not the case. That would be cheating reality. And I know
and
that at every
then
point. So how is it cheating reality?
and then the next level to it is you're just completely open with this, you're just completely fine with all this, and you acknowledge this entire thing, right? You're not that deluded, but you are still deluded, right? Because then you become a knowing parasite. You are latched onto me, you're sucking me dry, you're killing me,
That's bad.
and
Yeah, that's
expecting
aggression. It's a form of
hold on,
aggression.
hold on. That's not what I'm saying at this point, right? We have not at the ethics yet, okay? So you are a parasite, a knowing parasite. Um, so what is the parasite doing? They are attacking the host whilst trying to reap the values of the host. So you are cutting me down at the legs whilst expecting me to work for you. You are crushing Atlas and expecting him to hold you up. That is the contradiction that you're accepting there.
Okay, so now you're basically making a new point, which is that I am, but I don't, a parasite doesn't care about, like, a parasite knows that it is destroying the thing that it's living off of. That's like, it's not a
But you're still
delusion.
but you're still engaged in a contradiction, though. You might know that you're engaged in a contradiction. Maybe
What's
you're
the
really, really clever, and you know for a fact that yes, I know that it's a contradiction for me to try and reap the rewards that Hank Reardon must make for me whilst pointing a gun at Hank Reardon and threatening to pull the trigger. I know that this is a contradiction, but I'm still going to do it anyways.
Like I can just
Like,
suck him dry and then go
sure,
to the
you
next
might
one,
know.
right? You can a parasite. That's what a parasite can do,
Hold
right?
on, yes, exactly there,
Yeah,
and then go to the next one because
yeah,
you assume there will always be a next one. There will always be a next producer to suck dry.
yeah. But
So
that's
what
only
happens?
problematic
Hold
when this
on,
is not the case.
hold on. What happens when Atlas shrugs? All the producers go on strike. There are no more producers. What happens then?
I feel like I don't know.
Your
There
contradiction
is
is revealed.
there is a
You aren't
problem.
actually getting values. You're just predating upon them. You're not the producer. You're the predator.
I agree. Like that's nothing with I don't disagree with any of what you just said in the last 5 minutes. Like I agree with all of that. I agree that it is aggression. I agree that it is parasitic, but I don't see like any necessity for deluding yourself. There is no
If you were
necessity. Like
if you were
it
truly
is
acknowledging reality and acknowledging the
no.
requirements of reality,
I have a
that you
question.
that things have to be produced by someone, then you wouldn't be attacking the one who is producing and providing for you, because someone's got to do that provision, right? So you wouldn't be attacking your own provision there, whilst saying that we need more provision for me. Like, that is the contradiction that is being
But
sent
I
here.
could then just
That's why it's
end up.
destructive.
I could just do
Contradictions
it
aren't
until
real.
I could just do it until there is none left, and then I start producing myself. I don't know. Like I don't see the delusion. I just don't see the delusion.
But you aren't able to do that. Hold on, because if at some point in the future, hold
I
on,
still have the
there's
ten
multiple
dollars at
levels.
home, right?
Hold on. There's multiple levels to this. So that would be basically be saying, oh well, I'll just keep doing this until I've killed everybody, and then I'll start producing. Then I'll be the great big producer. So first of all, that you're not going to be able to be a great big producer if you're a career parasite. Parasites are parasites. You're going to starve and die, right? So there's that. And secondly, uh, if you are this is basically just taking just this once, I'll do this. Just this once. In fact, it's even worse than just this once. I will be a parasite. It's all this time I'll be a parasite. But we'll take the just this once. Just this once, I'll be a parasite and I'll violate the moral laws. This is equivalent to saying, I'll accept just this one contradiction. Just this one time, I'll accept contradiction and maybe it'll be all fine.
I don't see the
No,
contradiction.
you won't get to accept just one contradiction. It completely destroys the entire structure of your values. You can't
I don't see
seek
the contradiction.
objective values. You can't seek objective values if you are a parasite. It's not possible because you need
Okay,
principles. You need the objective principles to identify objective values in the first place. So, no, this is not something which is possible.
can I ask you something else? So it's related. Is is lying to get a benefit out of it? Is that always aggression? Because I
No,
feel like. But why did you then like? Is parasitic? Is being parasitic always aggression?
no,
Okay, so it would not contradict the non-aggression principle to be parasitic.
not necessarily.
It's okay. Under which circumstances would it be aggression?
If you're doing it aggressively, if you're doing it in such a manner which initiates conflicts.
So lying would not fall under that. So basically, fraud is totally fine.
That does initiate a conflict, because fraud means theft by deception.
But you just called that parasitic, and there is some threshold. So when there is no threshold, so basically when the person doesn't find out about the fraud, then it's not. Then it's okay.
No, that's still aggression.
No, but let's say
It's,
the person.
again, it's theft by deception. So there
Mhm.
has to be some amount of time where they don't find out about it, or else it's not by deception. You're just taking it from them. Like, and instantaneously, I know that the mugger is trying to steal from me, but the pump and dump scheme guy, Mr. Ponzi coming to town, he's not necessarily clear that he's stealing from me until later on when it becomes revealed that the guy was just a parasite.
Wait, so lying to get a benefit is not a crime.
It might be, not necessarily though.
But you gave it as an example for something that is not a crime.
It specifically, it can be a crime.
But why did you
but
give it?
not necessarily. There are some instances where it's not a crime.
In what instances is it not? Because I asked you specifically that. Then I asked, right? That's how we got started.
It wouldn't be a crime for me to pretend to be Barack Obama to get onto your show. Like, that's not a crime.
Why
it's
not?
a dick thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I haven't initiated any conflicts.
Wait, doesn't like the moment that I am like, what the fuck, you're not Obama? Like, isn't that like, wouldn't that be the conflict?
Yeah, it would very quickly become clear that I'm not Obama.
Like I am like buying this huge studio, and I'm like inviting all of my friends and family, and I'm like buying
Like
buying
I
popcorn and stuff like that. Yeah, but that's how is
it
that
would be
different?
very mean.
How is that?
It would be very mean to do.
Wait, I'm selling like tickets.
Crime.
But wait, how is that different from me pretending that I'm P Diddy? And okay, P Diddy might be a wrong example, but me pretending I am I am Beyonce, and I'm making someone give me like 200,000 euros. And
so yeah. If I pretended to be Barack Obama in order to get money out of you, and I say, hey, I'm Barack Obama. That sounds more like Peter. I can't do Barack Obama.
What's the threshold?
Hey Holmes, I'm Barack Obama.
Wait. So in both cases, you're getting something out of it. You want to be on the show.
It's not a threshold, right? It's a difference in kind, not like, oh, it's fine if you only do it to $1, but not if you do it to 50. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying that if I literally just, all that happens is I go on Discord, I lie to you and say, hey, I'm Barack Obama, can I come on your show? And you put a bunch of work in to make it a really nice show, and then I show up and it's like, I'm very clearly not Barack Obama, right? That's just a lie. It's very mean to do. You shouldn't do that, right? But that's not a crime. I have not initiated any conflicts. But if I say, hey, I'm Barack Obama, and I'm looking for campaign donations so that I can campaign again in 2028 or whatever. If I say that to you, and I try and get a campaign donation out of you, but of course I'm not actually Barack Obama, and then I'm stealing your money.
What's the difference between me allowing you on my show under false pretense and me giving you money under false pretense? What's the difference?
Because me clicking accept on a Discord call doesn't actually deprive you of anything. It doesn't take anything from you. I've not initiated any conflict. But if I take money from you,
but I've allowed you into my space.
If I take money from you under false pretenses, then I am initiated conflict over that money, right? That's an actual scarce resource.
So it has to be like, it can't be defrauding. Always has to be some wealth transfer between two persons. Otherwise,
not necessarily wealth. So fraud in general is just
so
theft
could it
by
also
deception.
Could it also be like making me do something out of false pretense?
What is stolen there?
Nothing. Like that's why I'm asking.
And it's not fraud.
That's what I'm asking. That's exactly what I'm asking. So is it only fraud if there is an exchange of goods happening, or is a service also part of that?
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at my chat is saying A. Holmes and Barack Obama in quotes.
No worries.
So yeah, no, it's literally only fraud if you're stealing something by deceiving the person. That's just what fraud means.
So how is it?
It doesn't have to necessarily be money even. Like, let's say I pretend that I'm,
could be a service as well, right? That's what you mean.
Maybe you're bald. Sorry.
I am bald.
Maybe you're blind. Maybe you're blind. And I have a really good Barack Obama impersonation, and I come to your house and I'm like, hey, I'm A. Holmes, I'm Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, it's Barack Obama. I say, hey, you know what? Give me your microphone. I need it for my speech tonight.
But that would be a value exchange. No, that would be good again. That would be good again. Now we're looking for an example. So
I'm more saying it doesn't have to be money.
Yeah, I know, but I'm asking you, could it also be a service?
I mean, no, because a service isn't actually a thing that you can own.
Well, why? If I ask you to build me a chair, right? And then I'm like, haha, fooled you. I'm going. Bye bye. See you.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
So if I ask you to build a chair, and you build a chair, and then I don't pay, I told you
So
I had the
yes,
money,
so
but I don't have.
therefore it would be fraud of the money. So the contract there would be, I build a chair for you, I give you the chair in
Yeah.
exchange for $50 or something.
Okay, okay,
So you've
okay,
stolen $50 from me there.
okay. Uh, what about pretending that you're? So have you heard about these cases of rape where there is a twin basically acting as if they were the other twin brother and sleeping with the woman? Is that rape for you?
Yeah, that is rape by deception, which
Why
is
is that?
different to fraud.
Why is that? Why is that rape? Like, why is that not the same thing as you saying that you're Obama and asking me on the show? How is that
Because they
different?
didn't rape
Yeah, but you
you.
asked me like entrance into my show is basically the analogy to entrance into the body. How is that different? I've heard you
I
make
don't,
that. Wait, I've heard you make the comparison many times that body and your property is basically the same thing, right? It's your body is your property.
I'm not interacting with any of your property there, though.
You're coming onto my space. Like, how is it? Like, I'm only giving you access to my space under the pretense that you are Obama.
No. So to be clear, your space here is like a Discord call.
Is
Like
that
I'm not
not my
even
space?
trespassing.
Okay,
Like I'm not even trespassing
what
here.
about you
Like
lying?
if you invited me into your house
Yeah,
on the condition that I'm Obama,
yeah.
um, then yeah. But I mean,
Is a
yeah, that would
Discord
be a
call
crime.
not
So
a
but
private
then
space?
I would be trespassing, right? The crime is trespassing. So you just say, hey, you're not Obama. Get the hell out of here.
Wait, but you have
It's
like
like, okay,
visual
well,
access, like you get like right now you get visual access to me, you get access to my voice, right? So that's the thing that we care about. So that the thing that we care about is that
maybe the
I have
thing
a
you care about, but like
no, I
law
have a
doesn't care about.
we don't talk like wait,
Law doesn't care about visual access or anything like that.
now I'm confused. Are we talking about the law? I don't think we're talking about the law right now, right? We're talking about
So that's what because
no,
we're
no,
talking
no,
about
right, right.
fraud
Yeah, yeah,
the whole
yeah, yeah,
time.
you're right. I'm sorry. Uh yeah, you got me confused there, yeah. Or I confused myself. But so yeah, but what's the difference? Like I would say that it's just a threshold thing. So would the law care about you basically the law would basically care about you saying knocking on my door and saying it's the police and then me opening the door that the law would care about, but the law wouldn't care about me knocking on your door and saying this is Obama, right?
Um,
It's
so
just
this depends
like from the
very
principle is the
heavily on.
same, right?
Yeah. Hold on. It depends very heavily upon social norms. So the social norms are generally that the door is there to, if you need to interact with that person, you go up and you knock on the door, right? And that's why there's like paths to it and stuff like that. Now the social norm would be that if you knock, this is the police, that you're basically saying, hey, you're a criminal and we're coming in right now. We're gonna, and if you don't actually, if this person isn't actually a criminal who you're going to be restraining, that's a threat, basically. You are trying to deceive someone to do some sort of nefarious thing with their property. You're trying to basically rob them, right?
Wait,
Probably,
but I now I think
or kill them or
I
whatever.
I think I am back on track. So I was lost there for a moment. So the reason why we're talking about this is that you were giving me an example of something that is immoral but not illegal, right? And the
Sure.
thing that you gave me is that you said a lie for gaining value. That's the thing that is immoral and not illegal. And I'm
Hmm.
asking you, and I believe that is not categorically the case. And now you
Yeah, I
also
agree. It's
don't
not
think
categorically.
you exactly you agree with that.
I think so yes, I think
You
there
you
are
don't
some instances where you lie to gain a value, where it is indeed a crime.
Exactly. And you think that the line between that being a crime and that not being a crime is if
The
there is
NEP.
a sorry?
The NEP is the line.
I thought it was goods being
If,
transferred.
uh,
That's what you
well,
said
that's
before.
an instantiation of it, though. But the basic principle is the non-aggression principle. Pardon me.
Wait,
Is
but
the non-aggression. So if it initiates conflict, that's in general the line. If it doesn't initiate conflict, it's not a crime. If
what
it
does
does
it mean?
initiate
What does
conflict,
it mean
it's a crime.
initiate conflict?
So let's take it back to Crusoe and Friday on the
No,
island.
no, sorry.
Friday's trying to take
Sorry.
Crusoe's.
In the rape case, why is it initiating conflict? What's the conflict there?
Because the woman can't have sex with her husband at the same time that not her husband is having sex with her.
Is that the conflict? Is that the
Yeah,
stick?
yeah. It's over her body.
Yeah, but the stick would be her body, right? No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the conflict is over her body.
But then it would be the two brothers having a conflict over her. But that's not the case. The conflict is
No, no, no.
between.
She and the fake husband are having a conflict.
Yeah, but if the stick, that the
The
stick
fake,
and
the
but
fake.
the stick and Friday don't have a conflict, or the stick and Crusoe don't have a conflict. If she's the
Well,
stick,
yeah,
basically.
because there is no stick here because it's not
Yeah,
over a
exactly.
third
That's what I
object.
mean.
It's,
Yeah,
hold
yeah,
on, hold on,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
It's over a person's body, so that's where the difference comes. Is conflicts over a person's body.
So that's why I'm
Obviously,
asking.
it's not
Like,
going to be over a third object.
yeah, but what's the conflict in that situation? That's why I'm asking.
The
Since you're
conflict is
defining
between
conflict, since you're
the
defining
conflict
conflict
the
as
the
the
conflict the
okay.
conflict is between the woman and her rapist over the use of her body.
So her okay, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But uh she wants to use her body at the same time as he wants to use her body. Is that what you're saying? Like the
She wants to
scarcity,
use
like because
she
you
wants to
just
use her
said
body
wait,
she
but
wants to use her body to have sex with her husband, not with her non-husband, at the same time that her non-husband wants to have sex with her. That those are
mm-hmm,
incompatible uses of her body. And she isn't fighting back because her non-husband has deceived her into thinking that he is her husband.
mm-hmm.
Like that's just why she isn't fighting back. That doesn't make it not aggression.
So in your model, basically, she is a separate entity to her body, right? She is the
No,
owner
no,
of her
no, I didn't
body.
say that.
But if you're
I didn't
saying
say she
that,
was a separate entity, though.
I mean, in the sense that I'm not saying that it doesn't make any sense. I think that's coherent with your model. Like, she is in conflict with her fake husband over her body, right? That's
Yeah.
what you're saying. So she and her body are like two separate entities in that sense.
No, no, no. She is like, in a certain sense, her body.
But she
Like,
can't.
I mean, I don't think this is
But she owns
really
her
relevant.
body.
Yeah, because
How
you own
is she,
yourself. That's why it's called self-ownership.
I don't know if I agree with that. But I think that's not a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, you can get into, I suppose, debates over whether you are your body. I think you are your body. I don't think there's like some wandering soul or something, which like comes around and inhabits your body. I don't see that making much sense. And like if I say, "Hey, you over there," I'm clearly talking about the whole person, the person as a whole, right? I'm not talking about your arm. I'm not talking about your ear, right? I'm talking about you, the whole person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I don't. I'm not sure about that. But I don't think it's really relevant for our discussion, right?
Mhm.